This is the inside of the IH600RL. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn it on by firstly pressing the red button just here. Once the control panel has fired itself up, we can then continue to turn the 12 volt on just here. Beside that, we have the water pump. Water pump needs to be on so we can get water out of the taps and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. We have auxiliary just here. This is literally a button that's just set aside for any additional accessories that can be fitted. On the main panel at the moment, we have how much water is in the fresh tank, condition of the leisure battery. It's letting us know that we're currently hooked up to the main supply and charging the batteries. We have an external temperature and an internal temperature and the time. If I now press here, it will give us a voltage reading of both vehicle battery and leisure battery and how many amps we're currently using. And if I press this one here, it will let us know in a percentage how much water is in the fresh tank. You'll see this one here that says program. If I now hold this, it will go into the settings menu. We have clock setting just here, or we can go into the full system settings, navigate using the arrows. You can also set the clock in the system one as well. If I now hit the program, as you can see, it's also an enter button. We can alter the clock. We can turn a wake up alarm on and off just here and then set it if required. We can actually change the colour of the screen. We can set the brightness of the screen when it's actually not being used. We can have key beeps on or off. We can actually alter the internal temperature just here, so if you do have your own thermometer in here and it's telling you something completely different, you can change it. And you can also do that with the external temperature as well. We can alter all the ampage and stuff. This is really more for the workshop. And then lastly, just save the settings. If we now just move slightly across, we have the gauge for the LPG gas tank just here. So we just have a series of green lights just letting us know how much gas is in the tank, and obviously they will go out as the gas is used. If we now go into the wardrobe, we have the battery charger just here. We can turn it on and off just here, but we want it turned on so when we're hooked up to the main supply we're charging the batteries. We also have in here the 12 volt fuses just there, so if something's not working on 12 volt, just come to check to see whether or not you've blown a fuse. And then beside that we have the trip switches. So we have the two yellow MCBs just there. We also have the main RCD and the test button, so if something's not working on main supply, just come to check to see whether or not you've tripped. We also have in here the table pole. The pole drops into the hole in the floor just here, and then pop the tabletop on top. And then also we have in here the television aerial. So we have the digital amplifier just at the back here. We can alter the boost of it on the inner dial just here, and we can turn it on and off on the switch on the side. The aerial itself just sits here. To pop the aerial up and down, you just need to unscrew the collar and then move it into the position that you require and then lock it back in place. Currently the aerial is sitting in the horizontal position. We can actually position it into a vertical if we need to do additional tuning, and that's just achieved by turning the tail just here. Do make sure that the aerial is down for travel. Beneath that we have the Dometic fridge, on and off just here. If we want to run the fridge on main supply, we just have it on the little picture of the 2-pin plug just here. If we do not have main supply connected, we can run the fridge on gas. These fridges will automatically light themselves. If it fails to light, it will begin to beep and you will get a red flashing light just here. If you want the fridge to try and light itself again, just press this button and it will reattempt. It will also flash if you're running it on main supply and you lose mains. And also this last one here is 12 volt maintain. So this is the setting we have it on to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. The engine does need to be running, so if I now press this, it will beep at us. Temperature control just here. As shown on the picture just there, this freezer box can be removed. All of these particular spotlights are touch. Sink, and we have the hob. So we have the electric hot plate just here that runs off the main supply, operates just here. Red light comes on to let you know it's in operation, and then everything else is gas, and it's just push in, twist, and then press the igniter. We then also have beneath that the grill, and again push in to the left and press the igniter. And the oven. Beneath the oven we have storage, but you'll also find just tucked in the back there a plug plugged in, which is for the electric hot plate. As you can see, we have the light switch just there, main socket and a 12 volt socket. Light switch here for the washroom. So as you can see, the tabletop just stows here. We then have the toilet itself. To open to the cassette, just slide across just here. Push to flush, just here. And then close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody's left it open. Level indicator just here, so this will illuminate when the cassette needs emptying. We have the basin just here. And then the shower just there. The extractor fan just up here. Above my head we have the Omnivent fan. So to raise the roof vent, just twist here. And then fan on in the center, and then we have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling. Variable fan speed. by pressing. Do make sure that all roof vents are down for travel. Down here we have gas detectors. So the lower one is a detector if there is a gas leak, and the other one is a detector for high levels of CO2 once the gas has been burned. TV located just here, on and off in the normal manner. It can be pulled out as well. You'll see just at the back there, that's where it's plugged in, and it's running on 12 volt. It behaves like any other TV. You have your TV guide just here. As you change location, it will need to be retuned in, and this is the retune button just here. It'll take you straight back to the retune menu, then just hit OK, and it will then commence retuning itself in. It has a DVD player just on the side just here, and it also has along the top USB connectivity as well. Next we have the controls for the Truma heating and hot water system. So we have power source selection just here first of all. So we just need firstly to decide what we're going to be using to power the heating or the hot water. You'll see there's a little knobble bit just there. Just literally move it to what you want to use. So we have two wavy lines. Wavy lines represent main supply, so that represents mains electricity using 2 kilowatts. We then have a single wavy line, mains electricity using 1 kilowatt, so just dependent on the amperage of the site you're on. We then have a flame, so gas on its own, and then we have dual fuel. So we have a single wavy line and a gas flame, so that's gas and mains electricity at 1 kilowatt, and gas and mains electricity at 2 kilowatts. The dual fuel settings are extremely handy, especially in the winter months, as it will get you up to temperature nice and quickly, and it will only use the gas as it's required. So if firstly we just go back up to 2 kilowatts, we then come across to this side here, and this is basically what we actually want to be doing. So you'll see we're currently off just here. If I now flick it up, you'll see I've now gone on to 40 degrees. So I'm now heating hot water on main supply to 40 degrees. You'll see we get an amber light come on here, just letting us know that we are all good and correct. And we have an amber light just here, and this amber light will go out once the water temperature has achieved 40 degrees. If I now flick up again, we then have water at 60 degrees, and again the amber light will go out once the water is up to temperature. If I now move back to off and then flick down, we have a picture of a flame just here. Hold on a second, because I'm changing the settings very quickly. The system just needs to cool down. So if you ever get that green flashing light, just wait a moment. This flame down here represents the heating system. It does not represent gas. The only time it represents gas is on this side here. So at the moment now we're running on mains electricity using 2 kilowatts, and I've got the heating running on its own with no hot water. We can control the temperature of the heating on the inner dial just here. If I want hot water and heating, I flick it down to this one just here, and this will give us hot water at 60 degrees and the heating on together. And again, the amber light will go out once the water is at temperature. We do not get an amber light this side if we're running on gas, and instead, if the system fails to light on gas, you will get a red light appear letting you know. If I now come down to the seating area just here and we remove the cushions, and then we just lift up, we have the location of the Truma boiler itself just here, and we also have the boiler drain valve just here. So to drain the boiler down for winterization, all we need to do is make sure the water pump is turned off, and then come to this lever just here and flick it up like so, and it will then commence dropping the water out of the boiler. I always suggest that when you are fully draining down that you also open up the taps inside the van as well, because this will help drain the system down, releasing airlocks. So when it comes to filling it back up again, do make sure that this is back over as it is now. Fill up the fresh water tank, turn the water pump on. You'll then need to open up the taps, etc. They'll cough and they'll splutter as they force the air out of the system. Once they're running freely on hot and cold, then close them back down again, and the system will then fully reprime itself. We also have, just tucked underneath this section just here, the water pump itself, so it just sits here. Underneath the other seating area is storage. You can see the jack and wheel brace just there. If I now just remove the back cushion, you can see the storage compartment beneath it. This can be accessed via the hatch at the rear of the van, or just here. We also have an inspection window just here, as this is the location of the leisure battery, so it gives us access to the main 12 volt fuse just here. The beds in this model of van can either be 2 single beds, or it can be made into a double, which is very simple. It's just pull both sections out, and then just pop in the cushions. And then, as you can see, we have a nice large double bed. Speakers at the rear and storage. This light just here is also touch.